All right, so in this video, I'm going to be walking through how to build out a screen recorder web app using AI and natural language programming. I'm going to be setting up the development environment with a pre-built template that I've put together and connecting this template, which is on Replit, with Cursor. If you want to learn more about Cursor, you can check out a video I've done in the past on Cursor. I'm going to be setting up the Cursor and Replit integration. And then I'm going to be also setting up Firebase for the authentication on the back end and using a tool called VO by Vercel to help with the interface. Now, it's become very feasible to put together these kinds of tools relatively quickly because of the progress of software like Cursor and Replit. This should be a relatively simple tool to put together as long as there aren't so many bugs along the way. But the idea is that at the end of it, you'll be able to have a nice sort of interface that you can pull up, and there'll be a button that you can click on to record your screen. It'll then download the file for you to be able to replay for tutorials or trainings you may be doing. I thought about the idea because I use different tools for my screen recording for even videos like this, and sometimes there's more complexity than is needed, or the tool itself will end up just crashing. So I thought to myself, well, let me see what it would be like to create a screen recording tool. So the first step is going to be to set up the Firebase. So I have Firebase pulled up here. I'm going to call screen recorder app. I'll leave the Google Analytics off for now. Continue. So the first step is going to come down here, click on web. I'm going to type in screen recorder app, register the app. And then on this page, you're going to copy and paste into these rows here in between the quotation marks in your Replit. So at the top right, pull up secrets on the tab, and you're going to copy and paste the values. And you're also going to want to run this command right here to install Firebase in the environment. So once we have that set up, we're going to continue to console, and then we're going to go over to the left side, build, and pull up Firestore database, create database, start in test mode. So now we have our database set up. It's waiting for it to load. Then we're going to go over to the left side, hit authentication, get started. We can use Google, enable our email, and save that. And we're going to go over to settings, authorize domains, and then what we're going to do first is run the app, copy and paste the dev URL. I'm going to go back. So now our domain is set up for authentication. Now we're going to go down to storage, get started, start in test mode, done. And that's going to be it for Firebase side. So now we have our authentication and database set up, connected to Rep. Now we're going to come back and we're going to be setting up our Cursor integration. So we're going to go down to Cursor. And so the first thing we're going to do on the bottom left, you're going to just click in that area. Go over to terminal, Control K, Command K. You're going to type in, create a SSH key for Replit, title it Replit, copy public key to all. So this Cursor chat box will allow you to make different commands, and we'll then be able to use the Cursor composer to actually code within Replit from Cursor, and it can actually use different large language models such as ChatGPT. In this case, we're using Claude 3.5 Sonnet. So we're going to submit this, hit that command, and then we're going to just click enter, overwrite, yes, hit enter twice again. And then now the SSH key, which is the key that will allow you to connect Cursor to Replit. We're going to type in SSH on the tab in Replit, go over to keys, add SSH key. We're going to copy and paste the key, which is already copied to the clipboard. And we can type the label in as screen recorder. Add SSH key, go over to connect, and then at the bottom, you're going to copy the shell command, go back to Cursor, paste that command to the box up top of the URL box, add new SSH host, paste it again, hit enter, and you're going to click on the first option. At the bottom left, you're going to see the host added. You're going to click on connect, and then it's going to be setting up the SSH host. It's going to ask if you want to continue. You're going to click on continue. So now Cursor is being integrated with Replit, and then once you see clone repository come up, that's how you know that we have connected. We're going to open folder, and you want to click screen recorder app, click OK, and then now the actual files in Replit will show up in Cursor. So now at this point, we can start building out the app. Now, I'd put together sort of an interface that I liked, that I prompted for. And so this is an example that I want to use. And there's a tool called VO by Vercel that helps you build out interfaces. This is something that you can use if you're looking for guidance around building out the interface for your app. Since we already have that interface, I'm actually just going to go back and into Cursor, I'm going to copy and paste this snapshot onto Cursor. And then I'm going to hit Command K to pull up the Cursor Composer. And I'm going to type in, I'm looking to create a screen recorder app. And in fact, what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to delete this. So what I like to do, and that I just added to my setup, is I have an app here where you can actually voice the prompts. So I pulled this up and I'm actually going to communicate it with voice. So I'm looking to build out a screen recorder app. I would like you to refer to the attached snapshot for what I want the interface to look like. It should include a way to start the recording. It should download the file, but it should be a WebP file. And you should be able to enable the camera so that you're able to see yourself when you're recording the screen, and your video should pop up on the screen so you can see yourself when you're recording the screen. The interface of this recorder should look just like or similar to the snapshot with the same kind of aesthetic and interface. You should use the microphone and the camera from the computer so that this can be fully functional. We are building this with Next.js and React. So I would like you to refer to those languages. And so we're going to stop that right there. And so you'll see at the top right, everything I just verbalized comes up. So obviously only a part of it is going to be going in there. But over here, you can actually click the paste to Cursor and everything will just paste in. So I'm going to delete the beginning part where I was speaking. Remove this stuff. Beginning part. All right. And then what you can do is add code base. What you can also do is, if you click add, you're able to look at particular docs. So you can actually add new docs for Cursor to refer to. So I'm actually going to go to the Next.js doc, which is what this is being built out with. And I'm going to copy and paste the URL for it into Cursor. And I'm going to title it Next.js documentation. I'm just going to say Next.js docs. And so now within Cursor, you can literally refer to the Next.js docs. So it takes that into consideration and refers to it, and it has the most up-to-date documentation for the language. So now we're in the part where I put that I'm building this with Next.js, I can actually hit add docs, hit add Next.js docs, and then I'm going to hit enter. So it's referring to Next.js docs, and it's also referring to the full code base. So you see the different files coming up, and it'll actually go and start building this out for you. So you see here saying, first, let's create a new component for the screen recorder. Now it's updating the main page, so on and so forth. It's using Tailwind CSS for styling. And we're going to first save this and then see how this looks on the rep. All right, so it looks like we had an error here. I'm going to copy and paste this error into Cursor. We got this error. It looks like the Next.js was out of date. All right, so we're saving this. Let's see what it does. All right, so it pulled up an example screen recorder right here. If we go in and copy and paste a dev URL into our browser, this is what it developed. So we can actually now go back into Cursor. Let's say, we want it to look nicer. So I'm going to pull up voice. I would like for the interface to look a lot more chic and a lot more futuristic and modern. I want the aesthetic to be purple, except let's see what it does. So now it's coming and updating it. I'm going to say, add the color to tail. Save all. Come in here. So the way it looks right now, it looks like it's almost was created for the mobile phone. I would like a mobile responsive interface as well, but I also want one for the desktop, and this should be catered to desktop and then be able to be dynamically responsive for mobile as well. I can paste that in, save all. All right, so it looks much, much, much better. All right, so we've got the interface in here. Now we need to ensure the functionality is where we need it to be. All right, so to test this out, so we can literally click start recording. Okay, so it pulls up our screen, and what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to pull up a trading chart. I got NASDAQ. Then I'm going to come back here. Let's pull up NASDAQ. Let's share this chart. All right. So now if I go back to view tab, all right, it's asking me for my microphone. So allow microphone. So once I pull up microphone, it started the recording. So now it is recording. And the only thing is I don't see the camera here. Let's see, maybe if I click on camera, because it's not asking me for the camera. Okay, so my camera's popping up here, but it's not popping up where the screen is being recorded. So, okay, so I'm going to stop recording. All right. So looks like we've got some things that are off here. If I could download the recording, so it gives me the web file. I click on this. Okay, so basically it is recording. So it is recording. So there are a couple of issues here. One issue is that the camera is popping up, but it's popping up on the screen recorder's screen. It's not popping up like with the screen that's actually being shared. And then also I would want to have a way of being able to pause the recording and resume the recording. So I'm going to go back to cursor and I'm going to say, so there are some improvements that we need to make to the app. One improvement is that the camera, although it's coming up, it's not coming up on the screen that's being shared when the recording starts. It's coming up on the screen recording for the main page, which is fine, but it should also come up for the page of the screen that's being actually recorded. And in addition to that, I would like for there to be a way to pause the recording and then resume the recording. Everything else looks good as far as the microphone is going on, which is good. And actually the camera shouldn't be on the screen recorder page. It should actually just be on the screen that's being shared when you're recording. So there's some improvements I need to make to the app. One improvement is that the camera, although it's coming up, it's not coming up on the screen that's being shared when the recording that's coming up on the screen recording from the main page, which is fine. But it should also come up for the page, that's the screen that actually recorded. And addition to that, I would like it to be able to pause the recording and then resume the recording. Lastly, camera should stop after the recording ends. Like the camera shouldn't just continue to be on. Everything else looks good as far as micro is going on, which is good. And actually, camera shouldn't be on, which is good. I would also say I kind of messed up that dictation. It's coming up on the screen recording for the main page, which is fine, but the screen being shared should also come up on the main page, and the camera should also come up for the page that's being actually shared. All right, so now we can add code base to that and then enter and see what it comes up with. So this is the point in time where you start experiencing some bugs and you start having to work through some of the kinks. What is also good is you want to set up a version control on Git. So you go to the top right in Replit, hit Git, and start saving the work that you're doing, because if it does mess up and you're not able to work through the bugs or the screen goes blank, then you may have to start at an earlier version. All right, so I'm going to save what it came up with. All right, so let's try this again. Start recording. I'm going to record this screen. I'll come back here. Okay, so now it's recording. It took the camera off of the main screen, which is fine. I'm not sure if the microphone is on or not. It sounded like the microphone is on. Camera wasn't on. When I click the camera on button, it's still not popping up for me, but okay, we can pause it and you can resume it, but I would like for there to be a timer if that is what's happening. So I'm just going to stop it. So when I stop it, you're able to now download file. Let's see what it came up with. All right, so the changes that I need to see happen, I need to see the camera come on. So now like the camera isn't functional at all, and the camera is still staying on after you stop recording. Okay, so let's try this again. So now I like how the main page looks. Let's keep it just like that. I like that we added the pause button, and I like that we're able to resume the recording. Now I need for the camera to show in the screen that's being shared so that I'm able to see myself when I'm doing a tutorial or a training. I need for the camera to show in the screen that's being shared. And then I also need for once I stop the recording for the camera to shut down. Let's see what it comes up with. All right, so I'm gonna click start recording and I'll go back. I see that we are recording currently. All right, and if I click on the camera button, doesn't come up when I click on the camera button though. Like I don't see myself there. And it's okay because this box here should probably have the recording in it, right? With the camera, it's okay if this is almost like a prop or for show, but when I click on the camera, it should show up for the screen that's being recorded. You know what I'm saying? Even if I do, I don't know, this Windows setting here. Okay, interesting. So when I did the window setting, it actually popped up here, and you're able to see a preview of what will be downloaded. So that's pretty cool. I actually like that. Let me try entire screen just out of curiosity. Same thing with entire screen. Okay, let me try just like one tab again. Actually like this a lot. I like this a lot. Now, the only thing is just the camera. It's just the camera. So I'm liking this a lot. The only thing now is just the camera. I don't see the camera popping up on the screen that is getting shared, whether it's the entire screen, a specific window, or a specific screen. I want to see the camera actually pop up. Right, let's see what it comes up with. And before I even move on, I'm going to go to the Git and make a commit. So I'm going to say build created UI plus basic functionality, stage and commit all changes. All right, so now if anything happens, I can always go back to the current version and work from there. All right, so let's see where we're at with it now. Start recording. Even before we start recording, let's click on the camera button, pull this up. Let's go. Yeah, still isn't popping up. Yeah, still isn't popping up. All right, so I'm gonna say, actually, I may not have actually saved it. Did I not save it? It may have been the issue. So I'm loving the other parts of the functionality. We have a way to mute and toggle the volume. Everything else looks good. It's just the camera portion that's not coming up. So this looks really great. The only thing is that the camera I believe is coming on, but it isn't actually showing on the screen. I would like for the camera to show on the bottom left or the bottom right of the screen. Please make the appropriate changes in order to do so. And then the other thing about this transcription tool is that it actually translates it to where it makes like more comprehensible. So I waited for it to translate it this time. It says the camera appears to be functional, but it's not displaying on the screen as intended. I like to have the camera feed visible in either the bottom left or bottom right corner. Please make the necessary adjustments to implement this change. All right, let's try this again. For some reason, the mic almost like automatically goes on, but then camera doesn't. I'm just gonna just start and see what happens, because the camera is coming on but we're not seeing it, right? And interestingly, it's almost like you have to record twice for it to then show on the original interface. So if I share this a second time, I notice that when I stop it a second time, it comes on there, but then the camera is still not appearing. And if I download the text, we don't see it. So is there anything that I need to add to the code or the files to make the camera appear? Because for some reason it's just not appearing. I don't see it on the bottom left, the bottom right, or any part of the screen. All right, so now it's saying it's going to modify the preview to make sure that it's showing on the interface. All right, let's say make sure to replace entire content of the screen recorder TSX file with this updated version. Can you update the screen recorder file? And what you can do if there continues to be issues, you can refer to another large language model. Like you can go to, because this is using Cursor. This is using Claude. You can always go to ChatGPT, prompt it there, and see what kind of troubleshoot it that way. But let's see what came up with. Okay, so now it's popping up on this screen. So when I start the recording, let me stop the recording, let me start it again. All right, so now when I stop this recording, it pops up here. Okay, so now I'm going to, let's see this. Let me start the recording. So now, interestingly, so if I'm sharing this screen, if I go back to the original screen, I can see it here, but I can't see it on the other screen. So now I'm curious, if I were to stop this and then download the recording, what pops up. All right, so we're making progress. Now it's actually popping up on the screen that's being shared. So now, and I'm able to turn the camera on and off. It still looks like it's on. All right, so now, because we've made progress, I want to go back to the Replit and make another commit, added camera to shared screen. But now the only thing about it is that, I'm going to say description, the camera is popping up on the screen. However, you have to hit stop recording twice before it registers. All right, and so I have that there because I'm noticing that when I click start recording, I'm going to submit accept all for now. When I hit start recording, it doesn't immediately pop up. You know, I can even record the entire screen. It doesn't immediately get shared, right? I actually have to do it twice. I have to hit start recording once, and then actually start recording a second time for it to then get shared. And then when I stop it, it'll then pop up, which is just like, it's a little weird. So I want to troubleshoot that, but this is where we're currently at with it. So I want to go back to Cursor and I want to say, so the app is now functional. However, there is this issue where when I hit start recording, the screen doesn't share on that main screen until the second time that I hit start recording, and that second time that I share the screen. What can we do to make it so that the first time that I start recording and share the screen, that shared screen pops up on the main screen? And if we can resolve that, this will take care of everything, because the camera, although it's not popping up on the shared screen, like that screen that you're looking at as shared, it is popping up on that main screen. That is what is getting downloaded. So let's paste this. The app is now functional, but there's an issue with screen sharing being recorded. When I hit start recording, screen doesn't appear across the second time. I just love how it really just makes what I'm saying more comprehensible. We're going to enter, right? Let's see what happens. So we start recording. Let's go with a cue here. We go back. Pops up the first time. Hit the camera. Camera pops up. Perfect. So now it is recording, and then if we are to stop it and then download the recording and play that recording, fortunately the camera isn't showing in the downloaded version. So you see these bugs that you kind of have to work through, these issues that you kind of have to work through. Oh, hold on, let me try this again. I'm curious, if I were to start recording again now, okay, so now I'm recording again now, and then I know that if I were to stop this, hold on, but now it's not even popping up at all. Okay, it is. Interesting. You saw. All right, hold on, let's reload this. Let me turn the camera on first, then hit start recording. Okay, so now we've got it sharing. All right, pause it, you can resume. I stop this, download recording, open the file. Let's try this one more time. So the key is start the camera. You gotta have the camera on. For some reason the microphone automatically pops on. You gotta start the camera, and you can start the recording from there. Let me try the entire screen. So I'm sharing the entire screen, now it's recording the entire screen. Have the camera on first. I can click between pages, and then let me stop it, download recording. All right, so now the one addition I want to add is just for there to be a timer that shows how long the recording has been running from. Maybe below where it says start recording, since that there is a space there, you can input a timer where it's just a running timer that is going, and then it stops when the recording is paused, and then resumes again when the recording starts again, and then stops obviously when the recording is completely stopped. All right, let's see what we came up with. All right, so we know we can turn the camera on now. If we hit stop recording, let's do this again. Let's go straight to recording entire screen. Perfect. So now we've got a timer, and it's a running timer. We hit pause. It pauses the timer. We hit resume, and then it'll continue. And then it's been running for 12 seconds right now. If we click for the recording to stop completely, it stops, and then we can download recording. Let's pull it up. And so you're able to see from here, and it's interesting. I know and when I click stop record camera, the camera goes off. Perfect. So you're able to see that we were able to put together this screen recording, like literally put together a screen recording application that is connected to a Firebase database where authentication can also happen. So the next step from here would be to create a page, a login page where if you wanted to deploy this more formally, people can log in and log out and be authenticated based on their email address, as we have it in Firebase. Or you could even do it through Facebook, where authentication is based on how you decide for it to be. And this is now functional. You can then from here go ahead and deploy it. I really like this. I'm going to just do this last commit. It says that no. Let's put added to the main page. Let's just sync that, and then let's just accept for the changes. And so I actually want to go ahead and deploy this because I really like it. And so at the top right, you're gonna hit deploy. I've been using autoscale where it runs based on the demand, like based on when it's actually being used. If you use always on server, then it's always going to be running, not necessarily just when it's being used. Static would be for if you don't have a back end. In our case, we're not even really using the authentication right now, but maybe that would get added. So I'm going to go with autoscale. Schedule to be based on just like specific times. I'm going to go autoscale, set up your deployment, approve and configure, deploy. I love it. So this is a screen recorder app that we've put together using Cursor, Replit, and that was really it. We also set up a Firebase backend for authentication, and we could take this a step further and have it so that users or other people can be on this. And then I also introduced VO, which is built by a company called Vercel, I believe it's pronounced, and you can use this for helping to generate the user interface. I already had in mind what I wanted that user interface to be, and that's what we used as inspiration. So if I go back to Replit, so now it's deploying, and now it's been deployed. If you click over here where the domain is, it'll take you to the page. So here's our screen recording app. So now you can literally record your screen. I'm currently recording with StreamYard. There's another app that I use called Screen Studio. But here's an alternative. It's done based on the browser, so it's on the client side, which is why the page is a WebM page. If you wanted to be able to download this as an MP4 file, then you would then bring the backend into play on the server side. But then you can also convert the WebM page to an MP4 with something like a Cloud Convert. And so the beauty of it is that there's so many different tools and ways of going about doing things to the end. This is something that can be very useful, and it's browser based. I'm going to be doing more kind of build outs like this and tools and demonstrations. Let me know what you thought about it. Definitely take a stab at it, and feel free to reach out with any sort of questions. We're going to be building and taking this further. So here it is, screen recorder app built with AI using Cursor and Replit.